as I finish 280. All right, everyone, thank you for attending tonight's Public Safety Transportation Committee meeting. It's June 8th, it is 6:32. We're starting our meeting. Appreciate you all taking time to do the work for the neighborhood. Khalid, if you could read the ground rules, because I'm driving.
Until granted the floor. 2, CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. 3, the chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. All right,
Thank you, Khalid. Appreciate it. We're going to do a call to order. And anyone, let's see, and then we'll do the roll call.
Committee members, 5 are needed to make quorum. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Kenneth Crouch.
Present.
Carlos Diaz. Judith Ferbraro.
She's going to be a little late.
Okay. Wanda Hopkins.
Present.
Marissa Mack.
It looks like Marissa just joined.
Yeah. Marissa, you want to mute yourself just to confirm that you're on, or we can circle back later, anything?
On, sorry.
Thank you, Marissa. Sage Mason.
Present.
Thank you. Don Sanders. And Michelle Wiltshire Clement.
Present.
Thank you. We have 6 present. You have quorum, Chair.
Thank you. Let's go back to our, we're going to start with our informational updates. Do we have, I saw Rafael here from DOT, but we typically start with the 2.3 and 2.5. I'm not sure if anyone's on. I know they've been very busy with a lot of events as of late.
We did receive an email from Detective Rivera that they had a conflict in schedule, but forwarded us the comp stat for the month, I believe. So we can share that with the committee.
Yeah, could you forward that to everyone so everyone has that information? I know that now as soon as the weather gets nice, the 2.3 and the 2.5 are constantly at events. So I'm sure they'll join us again in September when things are more calm. So we'll move forward. Do we have anyone here from the district attorney's office? Sage, is that a raise hand?
Yeah, I just, I wish people were here from the 23rd or 25th precinct. I think going into the summer when things get especially hectic, not just event-wise, but also in terms of crime in the neighborhood, I think that's when it's most important to hear from, and that's when there's the most information to report from representatives of the precincts. I know there was a shooting today on 115th Street in Lexington, and I imagine that's probably happens more often than I know about.
You are correct. Summers tend to be more hectic in terms of shootings and other fights and things of that nature. But there's also a lot of events that are happening in our neighborhood which tend to conflict with times. That's also part of it, and they have to be present there, which is their conflict a lot of times, unfortunately. But I'm sure that we'll still insist on getting their reports even through the summer. Make sure we get the comp stats. And in September, typically they give us a more thorough report of what happened in the summer. They don't get a summer break. They'll still be around. Let's see who else we have. So we don't have a replacement for the DA yet. Rafael, we're going to DOT.
How you doing? How are you?
We got you.
Can you hear me?
Good. We can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. Hey, nice to be here with you. I wish I could have a more happier news to tell you in regard to the 117th Street and Pleasant Avenue. I have been told that they're almost there in an attempt to make the selection of what it is that's going to be placed as a barrier right on that pedestrian lane. So I have no other news to tell you. I understand that you're going to be discussing the 128th Street and 3rd Avenue pedestrian bridge. So I'm looking forward to listening to the discussion. If you do have any question in regard to any other things that you might have in the district, please, you know that I'm always available for you guys.
Thank you, Rafael. Happy you're also going to stay on for our discussion a little later on.
I'll be here.
We also have the Park Avenue Viaduct Replacement Project. Someone here to discuss that, Khalid, or is that just?
There's no one here to discuss that, but it was just some latest information we received from
Right, I did see that.
Right. So they informed me that they'll be acquiring more information over the summer and would opt to maybe come back to us during the fall to give us an update. But everything that I copied or I attached in my email, that's the information that we have on record in office. And some representatives also made a presentation before our executive committee maybe about 2 months ago. So I can, double check on that and forward a link on to our YouTube page that would have the recording to the members along with the CompStat report for the NYPD precincts as a follow-up email tomorrow during business hours.
Beautiful. Thank you, Khalid. For those of you not aware, the Park Avenue Viaduct is where the Metro North runs. It spans from 130th really, all the way down to 97th, where it goes back underground. But there is typically significant repairs that need to be done. For a long time, we had strenuous fights with the MTA and DOT in regards to who is in charge. Our biggest issues were lighting underneath the tunnels, or the lack of that there used to be, but now all the lighting was installed. I will have to take a look one of these nights and pass by to see if anything has to be in repair, so we can forward that along. Another big public safety issue was the icicles in the winter. They would amass underneath there. There was some danger involved with that, so people had gotten hurt, and they put some steps in to make sure to mitigate that problem. But they're basically informing us and keeping us informed, but you'll get the information that was presented to us so that the committee can look it over. All right, so let's move on from informational updates. So now we're going into discussion of 128th Street and 3rd Avenue pedestrian bridge capital project. Khalid, could you pull up what they're proposing?
Okay, 1 second. Can you all see this?
Yeah, we see it. Thank you. So what we're looking at now is what's currently there. This isn't what DOT is saying, that this bridge is in disrepair. And beyond being in disrepair, it is not an accessible bridge. It looks like it's a ramp, but it's actually steps, very, very long steps. Also it's not wheelchair accessible. The plan is to remove this completely and extend certain parts of the sidewalk to make easier crossings. One of the main concerns we had was there is a school right there. Center tree on the left, that's a school. All of that is a school, which indicates a significant amount of school buses, parents, particularly in the morning. So the pictures you see now is probably in an afternoon. Even then, there's traffic sometimes on this bridge. It's very, it's not a dependable traffic. So it could be at any time. But in the morning, there's always constant traffic, right? So this is one of the few ways of getting into Manhattan for free. So most people take this particular bridge. What they're also trying to do is put 2 traffic lights there for when pedestrians are crossing. Obviously, public safety is a concern. So we had some questions in regard if the traffic lights are only there when someone presses and wants to cross, because they have that in certain places where it's like no pedestrians. You know, in the middle of the day or in the morning when there's school out, not too many people are going to be crossing into the park. So that's one of the questions I have going forward. But I wanted the committee to take a look, to discuss, because this is a very big project that's coming up. It is going to, whatever happens there and gets passed through, will have a significant impact into the community. Could you put up what they're trying to do? So in case someone was not here for this presentation last month, I do want to continue having this discussion because we should formulate a plan, present a plan to them. DOT works better when you present something that you want instead of just kind of asking blindly. I do agree that the pedestrian bridge is not very well used. I myself cross that bridge and I don't use that pedestrian bridge. I just cross on the bottom. Here we go. So on the left is what's currently there, and on the right is what will be there, or what the design currently is. This is still in design. It's going to be in design for the next year and a half, almost 2 years before it's implemented. So they came to us very early, which is great. It's great communication with the community. But now it's our duty to make sure that whatever we want to communicate back is a plan, not just kind of things that we want in theory.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah, you said that this is something that can be modified. Did I hear you correctly? Meaning that this is just the beginning of the design? Because they have been working on this for a while, and I understand this is the sort of like the final McCoy.
That's not what we were told. I mean,
If I understood correctly.
I hope that's not the case, because then it's really not community outreach, is it?
Well, they have, I was not there when it began, but it's been going on for a while. They had done the traffic study, and that is the reason why they end up with what you see now. I might be wrong, but if I remember correctly, this is something that has been in the work for a while by the geometric design unit. And I understand, again, I'm going to reach out to the pertinent unit to see if I'm going right. So I just want you to be aware that it might not be the beginning, but the end of the design. So I'm going to look into it very deeply tomorrow, as soon as I,
Please.
well, we're working for home tomorrow as well. So I'm going to reach out to the people that did
Yeah,
this.
that would be great because, I mean, regardless of the fact, the community board would still give their input on whatever plan they're presenting. We never expect a plan presented before us would be a finalized plans, because otherwise what would be the point of presenting before us, right?
So according,
But I appreciate it. I don't want to go in circles. Let me just,
Right.
we'll continue forward. We'll just do this under, I appreciate it that you let me know and you find out for us, and then we'll kind of move forward. But we'll still, regardless, move forward and give our recommendations. I mean, that's just how we're going to move forward regardless. I have a hand raised, Leslie. I have another hand raised. It's hard to see, Michelle. So we'll do. I think Khalid, I think Leslie has, can you unmute her so she can ask a question?
Leslie should be able to speak. Go ahead, Leslie.
Hi, looking over this map, it's nice that it's gonna be very pedestrian friendly, but the way it's narrowing down is gonna cause a lot of backup traffic backing up into the Bronx from that off ramp. The off ramp is very wide, it's 5 lanes, then it narrows down to 2 lanes. And then the light on Second Avenue continues to be more delayed, causing backup. Now, if this Third Avenue, this portion right here, if they can make it 2-way and have to alleviate the off-coming traffic, so then they could turn down 127th Street. Can that be a suggestion?
Actually, Leslie, I made that suggestion last month to them when they were here, but I appreciate you thinking the same way. That's still a suggestion that I'd like them to consider, because it does alleviate tremendously the traffic on 128th. And I'm actually going to ask Rafael and them to come out for a walkthrough in the morning, particularly because you are correct. In the morning, 127th Street is completely vacant. There is very minimal traffic from 127th to 128 on 3rd Avenue. And what a lot of people end up doing is going against traffic and driving down, sometimes in reverse or sometimes just head on. But people are actually doing it now. And now that we are narrowing this even more, because it is 3 lanes currently, and now it's going to turn into 2 lanes. There is a lot of concerns about the accumulation, these cars just kind of sitting in traffic, because as I spoke to DOT, like, I understand that the city is looking to be more pedestrian friendly, but we do have to do it conscientiously, because cars are not going to go away. And East Harlem has the highest asthma rate. And obviously, car congestion, I'm sure, is a key factor in that. So keeping cars just idling here or sitting still when there's a way to kind of move them along faster would be significantly more ideal. Some of these cars, they go to they can from there, they can take Harlem River North. And anyone taking Harlem River North has to go this way, because south, you could actually, as you pass the bridge, you can turn to the right and you can get on the south right there. There's an on-ramp. But to go north, you have to go to 128th, you have to go down 2nd Avenue, and then you can make a left turn. And that will lead you to the Harlem River Drive North. But I appreciate the suggestion. It is definitely something that we want to continue pushing on DOT to see if they can make it viable. They have similar situations downtown with 3rd Avenue, for instance, where a one-way avenue becomes a two-way avenue at a certain point. So thank
Yes,
you for
that's
that.
23rd Street, exactly.
Yep.
And what they're gonna do with those cinder blocks that are in the middle there? Because that is, if you don't know that off ramp, I've seen a lot of cars just barely missing those cinder blocks.
I mean, I'm sure they'll move them. I don't, those cinder blocks, I think, were left there from construction that they were doing. But those cinder blocks couldn't be there in their proposed plan because it would impede all of traffic. Right now, people are opening up using the other avenues, but what they're trying to do now won't really make sense with that. All right, so we have we have Michelle and then Sage.
Well, they was quite similar. However, when it was proposed last month, they were like, oh, there will be some backup. Yes, there will be backup on the bridge, but to the extent that I don't know if they considered congestion, when congestion pricing becomes a reality, unfortunately, people will want to use other ways to enter into the city that is free and park their cars. And so therefore, this would create even more of a bottleneck. I mean, I literally just passed by this way about 10 minutes ago. And what happens is people just get extremely frustrated when they're getting off of the highway, off the bridge. And so if they are met with a traffic light and then met with traffic that's coming off of East 128th Street, it's just going, the mindset is more of an explosion, and that has to be taken into account. When people get off and they're just frustrated, they're not going to stop for a red light.
It's an issue. It definitely is an issue. And it's an issue that we face on 96th Street, near where you live, right? 96th Street in Lexington is one of our highest accident rates, 96 in Lexington. For those who don't know, one of the main reasons why it tends to be one of the highest accident rates is because as you go down Lexington, there is a bus depot, and that bus depot causes tremendous traffic. So as people are waiting to pass through that bus depot, that's exactly what happens. They lose their patience, they lose their cool, and as soon as they pass it, they start to fly, and they try to catch that light 2 blocks down, and 90% of the time they don't make it, and there've been some horrific accidents there. That's why and I know you've seen it because you live right there, and that's why we ask for timing to be changed and things of that nature to make sure that people don't think that they have a chance of trying to catch that light. So yes, there will be certain consequences, and we know that there has to be improvements made. But it is concerning, the traffic, especially the change on 128th, where the buses will be flowing for the school buses. So now there's going to be a signal just for the school buses. They'll have to make that turn. Traffic doesn't really flow. It will. They say that it doesn't cause an issue, but I've been in many situations where DOT, their planners make some serious errors in judgment. Most of these plans are made in their office. They rarely come out and take a look, which is why we're asking them to do a walkthrough. And hopefully we can reach some common sense changes, something that really makes sense. I do hope they consider making 3rd Avenue a two-way street, a two-way avenue at that point. But yes, I do agree that people will start to be more aggressive depending on the traffic that's being built up there.
I think that we should add that if we write it into some sort of letter that should be really taken into account.
I agree 100%.
And if we have to use the 96th Street,
I think 96th Street is a perfect example because
yes,
that's exactly what happens. People lose their mind waiting for all the traffic, and then they pass that bus depot and they start flying. And then we see some very, very horrific accidents. Thank you, Michelle. Sage?
I no longer have my question.
Oh, you sure? Comment, question over here?
No, we're good. Thank you.
All right, sounds good, Sage. No, so we try to make this work for everyone. That's why I wanted to bring it up and make sure that everyone, and we'll bring it up again because during the summer, we'll start working on it. I know that Rafael is saying that their plan has been a final plan, but we've been down that road before with DOT. I mean, sometimes we have to challenge city agencies in their expertise. There was once, when I first joined the board, they wanted to remove the left turn on 125th Street going east, the left turn that would go up 3rd Avenue. And that left turn actually allows people to go to 127th Street and go take the Harlem River north. And they wanted to remove that left turn because it said it would improve a million things. And I mean, I had just joined the community board and I was like, I thought it was crazy. I was like, I know. I was like, how do people get on Harlem River? Like, how would they go north? And they told me like, they could just go down to 2nd Avenue and they would make the right on 2nd Avenue, go down to 124th and then loop back around. So I'm like, so we're going to take this left turn away and force all these cars to loop around all this residential area. I was like, why are we taking this left turn away? And they really didn't have an answer for me. It just was that at the time, the city planner that was looking at it, which is a freshly graduated, he thought it was a good idea. We finally got that. And after that, I became a lot less trusting with the city's expertise and just sometimes common sense has to take place. We're here to do what's best for the community. What works downtown or midtown may not always work here. But, we need to reach a nice balance because a lot of great things happen at that park. There are still a lot of things that need to be fixed, lighting. There's significant prostitution in that park. There's significant drug use in that park. But the community uses that park a lot. If you pass through that park, people are playing football in it. The football league, the young kids football league is there, the Jets. They play there. There's constantly something happening. So it's a big green part that needs to be used. I do agree that there has to be a way to safely cross because right now you kind of have to hustle for it. But I do want to have this conversation or formulate something over the summer. We'll forward it to the committee so that we can send it to DOT. And regardless if it's a final or not, I mean, we can make our requests. At the end of the day, we're an advisory board and we're here to, do the best thing for the community. And you renovated park? All right, yeah, I don't think they just renovated that park not too long ago. Leslie, you had a question or comment?
Yes, also with the narrowing of that street, and you said that a lot of people use that park. Yeah, I'm very happy that people use that park. However, the parents that drive there, they double, triple park on that roadway and block the traffic coming off that ramp. So what is going to happen with the parking there? Are they going to move it? They're going to change it? They're going to take it away once you narrow this off ramp?
Well, they're going to narrow. See, that's part of what we want to do, right? Sometimes DOT wants to narrow a much larger area than's needed. We want to narrow certain parts of it. Here, they're narrowing a very, very large extent of it. It's my opinion that they should narrow a smaller piece. You know, sometimes they make certain changes. I'll give you an example of Madison and 116. They wanted to put, we made a pedestrian walkway, which was great, but they wanted to take 5 parking spaces because they wanted to make, I don't know why. You know, when we asked them, they never really had a solid answer. We ended up pushing back, and they ended up taking only 2 parking spaces, which means that we saved 3 parking spaces for the community. And for someone that has a car and lives in this community, that's very important. So, you know, it's part of kind of our juggle with DOT or any, you know, that's really what the community does, right? We're here to advocate with city agencies and make sure that the changes they're making in the community makes sense. So right now they're extending it, so that double, triple parking would have to happen after the extension vote. It couldn't happen then because they would be blocking all of traffic.
Well, they do it right now.
I know, but right now it's not. It's much wider. Right now it is 3, 4, it's 5 lanes. What they're proposing here is they're going to only be 2, 3. You know, they would be taking a lane away with the curb extension.
And isn't sanitation over there too? So those big trucks that come by?
Sanitation is across the street. Yeah, it's a little to the right of King's Academy. You really can't see it there.
Right. So all those vehicles, including residential, commercial vehicles.
On the south side of the street, there is sanitation. To the right of the park, there is a to also sanitation depot, or sometimes the buses go there. But I haven't seen the buses go in there as much lately, but definitely the sanitation buildings are still there. Rafael? Yep.
Yes, in regard to the issues of people parking adjacent to the park, I mean, on the road, if you notice that on 127, 128, and 3rd, they have created an enormous amount of parking space. So that perhaps would alleviate that particular problem that has just been mentioned.
Not really, because I can guarantee you that all those parking spaces will be registered for DOE, or, you know, because right now there's the few parking spaces that are there are very restrictive to plaques. So I know the school wants more parking for teachers and such, but I can guarantee you that that parking will not be for community.
That's an issue that you should bring up later on in relation to creating the facility for the parents. to
Maybe
park.
besides that parking, I would prefer if they made that, instead of making the parking, the diagonal parking, I mean, I would prefer they make it a 2-way street so we can alleviate all that traffic that happens in the morning. See, going 127th Street to the west, it's not a big deal, but if those vehicles can be funneled to 127th going east, that would alleviate traffic at least 20, 30% on 128th Street between 2nd and 3rd. Because you really can't see it here in the map, but anyone coming from Jersey on the FDR South gets off and meets 128th Street and 2nd Avenue at the Crackers Whack Park. So at that point, you have a traffic light, and it allows people coming from the FDR South and people on 128th Street. And that's why there's such a huge traffic jam. And mind you, in the morning, 2nd Avenue, there's always traffic, but it does flow. You know, it does tend to flow, but 127th Street is practically empty, probably 90% of the time, of the whole day.
So you are suggesting that the traffic be the tour to 127th Street going east, and what will happen on Second Avenue on 127?
There's a light there already.
There is a what?
Nothing would happen. There's a traffic pattern already.
There is a traffic light there?
Oh yeah, of course. There's only one block we don't have a traffic light in most of probably in our entire neighborhood.
Mhm.
And that's 120th and Pleasant, which we're actually requesting a light there.
Okay. Thank you
Or
for,
maybe around Marcus Garvey, but I think Marcus Garvey, we've added some lights as well.
that's good to know. Thanks.
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons, Rafael, that I'd like you to schedule a walkthrough now in the summer, particularly for it to happen. Well, I mean, you like very early morning, and I know the DOT group likes early morning, so that's perfect because that's the time to see all the traffic. And you'll see, I've been taking pictures and videos just to forward them to you of people going illegally against traffic on 3rd Avenue constantly. I mean, any day of the week you stand there, people will go down because 127th Street is completely empty.
Is the last meeting of the
Of
year?
summer, yes.
Summer, yeah.
Yeah, our next meeting after this will be in September. I'm sure the executive board tends to meet during the summer. Michelle, you had your hand raised, or is that an old hand?
It is not an old hand. I was just saying that I've also witnessed many people frustrated going on 3rd Avenue right off the ramp.
Oh, yeah. Some of them do it more discreetly and they go in reverse, but some of them just go head
No,
on.
they just go head on. They're just so
Yeah.
angry at the amount of traffic and time it has taken to get off the ramp, and they'll just go at head speed. But also, I've noticed that a pattern has developed where people are just going right through the red light by the Crack is Whack playground. And it usually happens when there is so much traffic and it's taken such a long time and they just speed right through the red light.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
And it's happened more than usual these days, it seems.
Okay,
That's
thank
my
you,
husband in the
Michelle.
background saying it's a post-COVID phenomenon.
Yeah, Kenneth has also seen many people going the wrong way there. All right, thank you, Michelle. We have Xavier with us, our chair.
Jose, thank you, everyone. I was at an event at Strive over at 100 Towers. Duncan was not, who you hear in the background. I walked up that neck of the woods, just 5 blocks north, and I could literally see that happening. Everything you've stated in this meeting is happening, even at the tail end of rush hour. So
Of course.
I just want, so just letting you know, this is a common phenomenon.
Yeah, you would think that the traffic here is only in the mornings, but no, I mean, you're seeing it now and there shouldn't be traffic there at this time, but it's still, if you're coming in free into Manhattan at this particular point, this is the only way to come in free. Otherwise, you would have to pay for the, I call it the Triborough, but it would be the Robert Kennedy Bridge now. The next free entrance would be what, 145th? Yeah, it would be 145th Street. So as you see, this is an ongoing issue. We're going to put a plan together, like we said. I know hopefully DOT will be receptive to our common sense approach to doing these things. As I said, we're trying to get a balance between pedestrians, vehicles, and because this neighborhood isn't just consist of one or the other, right? We're trying to make sure that everyone that lives here is being catered to by us. You know, there are some neighborhoods that are mostly all pedestrian. People don't own as many vehicles, but here in our neighborhood, there is a significant amount of community that own vehicles. That's why we also talk about parking permits in the future, because we know that when that congestion pricing goes in, people will look to our community as free parking, park their vehicles, take the train down, and then come back later and kind of follow that circle and take up the community's parking. It's a reason why we are starting that conversation very early, well before congestion pricing goes into place, because we've seen that in other places that put congestion pricing, this phenomenon has occurred where neighboring neighborhoods of entry, because that's what we are, we're a neighborhood of entry point, they end up being used as basically parking lots. All right, so we're going to move forward. This is going to be a pending issue. We're going to have a better plan, but I do believe we're going to present to DOT, or Rafael is going to coordinate our walkthrough with the team. And we'll make sure that we invite the committee out, and hopefully some of you can come out. And if not, I'll be there, and I'm sure Xavier will be there as well to join me, if he can, of course. All right, let's
Everything, everywhere, all at once for you, my friend.
Thank you. Just don't bring the wolf.
Well played. Have a great rest of your meeting.
Thanks, Xavier. All right. What else? Oh, right. So look, we are very serious about having our first annual public safety conference. Obviously, it's coming from this committee, so we'd like to kind of discuss it here at this committee. And Michelle, Vice Chair, has been great in putting a lot of things together and been very, very helpful. So I would actually want Michelle to speak on this. And I know she has a good connection, so she's been speaking all night. So Michelle, could you lead this conversation for me?
Hi, everyone. Yes, we know that it's about time that we have a good public exposure of what is happening in our community, as not of what is happening, and then solutions of what we can do. And so what I have written down is, yes, to have the 2-5 and the 2-3 present on how our community is unsafe and safe at the same time. And they both said that they would be interested in forming a joint presentation for us in the past. And also the district attorney has said that they would be interested in being part of our conference. The business side would be, I don't know if people had remembered about people that would go into different businesses and have like a survey of saying, oh, well, this lighting is needed here, cameras needed here. I forget the term that they use. However, to have that group of people also come in and speak, and to have like tables around where people could go and have that one-to-one conversation afterwards would also be helpful. The thing that I wanted to have and brainstormed later on was to have some sort of way of solutions. And we had spoken about the gun buyback and the creative art ways that the precinct and the union settlement have been having in our neighborhood, but it's also something that a lot of people might not know about. And to bring awareness in a concentrated area of what is happening, why it's happening, and how we can reach a conclusion, a safe conclusion, and make our area safer. So in a nutshell, that's it.
We were thinking about having this at Hunter College with a very neutral ground, because obviously our biggest public safety issue is the youth violence, which the NYPD is categorizing under gang violence, right? So all these different tenement names like East River Army or Carver or Jefferson, they all have, they're considered gangs under NYPD. We were trying to get the commissioner of gang violence, but he was very happy to come to our, but he happened to retire recently. But I mean, he did great service. He knew everyone and anyone in the community by name, by stats. So we're going to work with Marco Perez Jr., who's now the liaison for these situations. He no longer is at the district attorney's office. He actually works with the city to liaison this. So where I spoke to him at Kyoka's at the gun awareness that the 2-5 had on Friday. I was there and we spoke in regards to that. I was telling him that we're going to have this conference and he was excited to help. So he'll definitely be an asset for us because our focus will be our primary public safety issue, which is youth violence. As Sage was saying before, as soon as it gets hot, there is more guns coming out. People do tend to get more violent due to the weather. A lot of these gangs, they know the laws. And what they do is they make the kids that are minors hold the guns and do their shooting for them. And because of that, they know that since they're minors, they could have a shootout and still be out later on that day. There are a lot of laws that protect minors for that respect, which are great to be there. But at the same time, if we have repeat offenders, we have to also take a look into that because right now, a judge will only have everything sealed in front of him and he makes a determination on case by case unless he tries this individual twice. But a minor could have 3-4 gun charges in a summer and each judge wouldn't know about the previous ones. So I think there has to be a limit. There has to be something that's common sense that shows that there's a pattern and doesn't necessarily push, minors because they're children at this point into facilities, but into programs, right? That's why there are a lot of programs. That's why we've been pushing with ACEs. We've been pushing with community programs, places that children of need can go to. We're also going to have those programs at the conference. They're going to be present to make sure that the families and anyone attending it, or even the kids themselves, know that there are places they can go to get certain help, to get certain betterment, to take the steps they need to get out of that pattern. And it's very difficult because most of these kids grow up in one particular project and they're kind of groomed into this from a very young age. And I tell you, because my office is right by Jefferson. I know most of the people there and I know most of the kids there. And you see these things happening from a very young age. Same thing with East River, where I have very, very close friends. Same situation, right? These criminals are very aware of the laws that are happening and they take advantage of that, and at the same time, they're taking advantage of our youth to do these crimes. And they just don't know any better at that age, or they're trying to make a name for themselves, unfortunately. So that's the whole point of this conference, to make sure that we tackle these issues and make people aware. We were trying to also talk about having an economic and development co-conference, but I'm not sure if the timing works, or we're still working on those details, but we just wanted to discuss it here to make sure that the committee is aware and we can move forward.
Yeah, as I was talking about it, it didn't seem like it flowed as neatly previously, having economic. I think we should really concentrate more so on the safety and
In public safety. No, I agree 100%.
yeah, it just because when I was speaking, it didn't flow as neatly as before. And so if it doesn't flow now verbally, it won't flow in person.
So I wanted to know if the committee had any questions, any concerns, any comments. We would appreciate all inquiries, we want this committee to be a participant in this and not just, on the sidelines. So we may ask each individual ones to, do certain areas, talk to certain people. Before I was chair, I was a board member for a long time. And I know sometimes you kind of feel like you're not doing much. So we're here to, we're telling you that we need the help because this is going to be a good undertaking. It's probably the first one that's been done in our community. But considering that youth violence is our #1 public safety issue, it is something that we definitely have to do. Kenneth?
Yeah, just a quick comment. I just want to say that I echo the broader thoughts. I was unfortunately sick last time we met, but I am really excited to jump in with y'all and to really think of creative solutions that tackle the unique ways that crime happens in and around our neighborhood, and also just ways to really stop the engines of mass incarceration at the same time. So super excited and happy to jump in, when the time comes and when we can ask most of our members to make sure that this conference becomes a success.
Great, thank you, Kenneth. We're looking to have this in October, so I'm going to be working with this with Michelle during the summer and present something to you very stable by September. Leslie, and then Wanda.
Yes, I had sent in an email of certain questions that I wanted to ask in terms of transportation. When Taino Towers had the scaffolding up on 3rd Avenue, they moved the bus stop. Now that the scaffolding is off, they never replaced it. And a lot of the patients that go to Borinquen Health Center have to walk 2-3 blocks, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, to get to Borinquen on 123rd and 3rd. Is there a chance that it could be suggested to put the bus stop back on 123rd, between 122nd and 123rd on 3rd Avenue?
Yeah, we can reach out to MTA. That would be an MTA question, but they're not present. It's something that we would send through the channels.
Yeah. Also, because I work midnights, I would get off at 6 a.m. coming down 128th Street. There would be a cluster of people waiting for the bus to go down 2nd Avenue on 125th Street. And I witnessed 6 buses saying not in service, express. And I followed them. I purposely followed them. And they would start going in service once they got to 86th Street. Why did they have to pass all these people here? And there's like 20, 30 people waiting to get on the bus at 6:30 in the morning. And 6, 7 buses go by.
That's a comment, not a question.
Good evening, Leslie. Please call the office tomorrow to relay these concerns, okay? It's best to reach out to the office when it comes to constituent-related inquiries so that we can handle them in real time during business hours, okay?
I sent an email already. Thank you.
When did you send the email?
Probably today.
Tonight. Yeah, tonight.
Probably like an hour ago. I'll take a look at it when I'm not here. I'll forward it to you, Khalid.
Okay, yes, okay. So I'll review it during business hours tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Leslie.
Okay.
All right. We had Wanda and then Michelle.
I just wanted to say that I think that the conference would be a great idea, and that I'm on board with it. And if you need my help with anything, I'm here.
We will definitely need your help, Wanda, and I appreciate you volunteering as well, Kenneth, as well as everyone here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Michelle?
Hi, Kenneth. I wanted to ask, you had made a comment about people that have been incarcerated. Did you want to add that into the agenda of the safety conference?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be a great idea. And, I've worked in various capacities with formerly incarcerated folks, and I think they should be an important part of the conversation. So yeah, thank you for that. I think that'd be a great idea, Michelle.
Okay, because you skimmed it a little bit, and I was like, wait a minute, I wanted to make sure I heard that right. Okay, good. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
That's a great point to add. I think it goes in well with our public safety to make sure that anyone that's been incarcerated before can have a path to redemption, which is not as easy as you would think. especially in the economic position that New York City is in currently.
And I think that would flow better with, instead of the business aspect that was
Yeah.
competing in.
I agree that we should keep this more public safety. Oh, Xavier, you're still with us. See, that's how good our meeting is. We can't, like, Xavier doesn't let go. Go, Xavier.
I'm riveted. No, great conversation. If you are going to go talk about reentry and that particular aspect of prevention, I would recommend including Strive as one of our CBOs in that conference. So that's just a recommendation. So
Definitely. Thank you for that. They are definitely at the top of our list in that suggestion. Appreciate it. All right. So look, you know, we wanted to bring this up to make sure that everyone is aware that this is going to happen. We are going to make this a reality. It's going to take some work. We're going to be reaching out to all of you to help us with the work, because 2 people can't do this, but that's why we're a committee, you know, so we look forward to all that participation. I'm glad that you guys are excited to help. And being part of the executive group, I know I'll still be doing community board things, but for the rest of you, it's have a good summer. All right, so we're going to finish up with our old business. We will move on to announcements. We like to do our announcements at the end. Do we have any announcements? Michelle, you have an announcement?
My announcement is have a fantastic summer and hope to see y'all in the neighborhood.
I hope to see you all at the Puerto Rican Day Festival is this Saturday. The parade is Sunday. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this crazy air quality issue we're having. Hopefully that they don't cancel it, because so many things go into play. Xavier, do you have any information in that regard?
I do, real quick. Yeah. So the breakfast, the Puerto Rican Heritage Breakfast, is being sponsored by Espiado del Museo. You'll have to register. I sent the materials over to the office. They should have been disseminated for those who wish to RSVP. That is from 8 to 10. And then we will have the 116th Street Festival, and you'll be able to have a lot of interchange over at Silverman. That'll be going on. The festival is supposed to go live. Unfortunately, the flag raising, that's been canceled, as has the Gracie Mansion Puerto Rican Heritage meet and greet over with the mayor. That was canceled. So the Puerto Rican Day Parade is proceeding as planned.
Because
if you want to march
tomorrow night, right? So
yeah, no, it was tonight. It was actually tonight. So it was, but they canceled it out of abundance of caution, as well as the other events tomorrow. But if you do want to march, an email was sent earlier today for just send an email to Mariere and Porfirio, and you'll be able to march to the borough president's office. So
Xavier, Judith says she wants to march in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. So to make sure she has a spot. Thank you.
Yes, make sure I have a spot.
Copy that, along with some pernil.
I'll march with you, Xavier.
She's going to be there with her puppy.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing those. Just please
Sage
send
will
an
be
email.
marching as well. It's good to hear, Sage. Participate.
All right,
I know
wonderful.
Carlos
All right.
got a flow, so make sure you say hi to Carlos out there. All right, guys, look, have a great summer. We will be in touch. As I said, we'll be working this entire summer to make sure this conference happens. So thank you all for being here. And Rafael, if you could get back to me about that walkthrough, as well as the planning phase, or where it is. It was my understanding that it was still in planning, but we could always ruin DOT's plans. I don't have a problem with that.
Neither do I.
All right, Rafael, thank you so much for always being a champion to our neighborhood. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Have a good night. Appreciate you all.
Have a great summer, everyone.
Bye.
Yes.